Hello and welcome into the KE Report. I'm your host, Shad Markwitz, and today we're getting an update from Silver Tiger Metals. Silver Tiger is traded on the TSX.V under the ticker SLVR and on the OTCQX under the ticker SLVTF. I'm joined today with the CEO and president of Silver Tiger Metals, Glenn Jessome. And Glenn, it's great to have you back on the show as always. We just talked last month and had a nice webinar for folks where we overviewed the big picture ideas, but you put out a press release to the market just this morning on August 13th. And I want to dig into this. We had teased this before in prior conversations, but most of the conversations we've had have been about your El Tigre mine, where you've been working on the PEA for the underground. You've put out the PFS last year on the open pit at the surface. But a lot of people don't realize how large of a land package you have and how long this mineralized strike is and how many historic past producing mines there are kind of peppered along this like a string of pearls. And so we had teased that you're going to be going north and eventually going south and doing some regional drilling. And you put out the news this morning that you're doing just that. You're heading up north. You're heading towards the La Protectora area, about 2 kilometers north of El Tigre. And this is exciting, a regional drill program. So break it down for us. What's the strategy here, Glenn?
So, Shad, look, I've always told you it's focus, focus, focus for us. And what we've done since we've had this project is focus on getting it to the point we can put the open pit and then the underground in production. It's been a long journey. We've spent hundreds of millions of dollars, drilled hundreds of thousands of meters, and we're there with the PFS for the pit, with the PEA right around the corner for the underground. We have accomplished that goal. A few more things to do and nail down which lender we're going to use, get the final permit amendment, but we're real comfortable that, that one is pretty well where we needed it to be to get into production and generate huge cash flow. I'm not going to go into that. We've gone into it so much. Why is that important? That's what's going to allow me, and always was the plan from the day we got this, to go north and to go south. I think it's important to have perspective. 25 kilometers of trend around the 2 or 3 kilometers, which we talk about in the press release that went out only an hour ago. So your timing is perfect on this. We call it the El Tigre Mine Veins, Sui, Sites, Kelly, and Tigre Vein. We've delivered, the old timers took 100 million silver equivalent ounces, 2.5 kilos. We've delivered 113 million underground, just around that old mine already. There'll be more. 100 million in the pit. And if you read the PFS, you would see that our independent consultants basically said in that report, we tighten up the drilling in that area around the old pit, that couple of kilometers, you could add another 70 to 100 million, 400 million silver equivalent ounces. Incredible. Now think about it. North and south, we've got about another 10 kilometers. And that was what we couldn't wait to get to, but you had to do it in the right time. I want to self-fund all this drilling from the money we're going to make from the mine once we get it into production. Now, let's talk about what we've done. It's eeny meeny, which way do you go, north or south? There's so many targets both ways. North has a little better access for roads, and we've been up there a little bit earlier to do some scoping drilling and a little bit of sampling when we first got the project, so we went what we're dealing with. And so we just went north. And I mean, that press release this morning, and we can delve into it. Let's talk about the north first, and then I'll give everybody a little update on what we're going to do, and we're going to get at that south too. Those veins we talk about up there, there's 4: Fundadora, Protectora, the Caleigh, and the Benjamin. And I'll give you a little bit of flavor of what we're seeing up there, what we're going to do. This is not like we have to do anything different than we've already done. When we got to the old El Tigre mine, we basically did all the exact stuff we're starting to do to the north. Map it, sample it, LiDAR the underground, sample the underground, get the drill rigs pointed at the targets on the basis of what we did at El Tigre. Went pretty well. Those hundreds of thousands of meters we drilled delivered, as we can see right now, old timer plus what we had, 400 million silver equivalents right in front of us, and we've pretty well put our stamp on 300 million of those. So that's what we're doing to the north, and I'd be more than happy to discuss that first. You've read the press release. What were your thoughts?
Well, I'm excited just because I know the team has already been out there scouting around, like you're saying, doing some of the ground truthing, doing the surveys, doing the mapping, doing the sampling. I guess people listening, Glenn, will want to know, what is the drill plan? Do you have an idea of how many meters, how many holes? What are the main targets? I think you're starting at La Protectora, but you mentioned Fundadora and Caleigh and all these other veins. Just talk to us about the strategy for this program.
So let's talk about that north. You've mentioned the veins. Let's talk about the drilling in a moment. I'll tell you how we're going to do that, because you got to do first. So We're a couple of kilometers just north, the Protectora, Fundadora, Caleigh, Benjamin, those veins, just a couple of kilometers north of the old El Tigre mine. Remember, we haven't even talked about it. That's for another day. That's for another ways down the road when we start talking about the Pilares district, which is still another 3, 4, 5 kilometers to the north, which was a big mine. What do we do in Mexico? Where do you find all the mines, Shad? You find them under and around old mines. El Tigre, I don't have to give you a better example. So as we went north and we had all the historic records for up there, Protectora and Fundadora, especially the Protectora, that mine in there, the El Tigre North mine, Santa Maria, those mines were on that vein. They had a full camp there. They had their own mill. They had their own hotels, and they had their own saloons and their own grocery stores, all of that, because that was a mine that was totally separate from the El Tigre mine, operated. So we said, let's start looking here. And that's what we did months ago. And the first thing you do is get in the underground. It's detailed in there, right? You can see the underground on the Protectora, on the Fundadora. Caleigh and Benjamin weren't mined, so we don't have a lot of underground. A few adits on that, but the big underground was the Protectora and the Fundadora, and that's where those commercial mines, same vintage, 1908 to 1930 when they closed, operated. And you can see we've been in, 60 adits already. One of those underground openings is 250 meters. We've been, into that. We're sampling it. There'll be lots more. People can see photos of that in the press release. Exciting. Sample, map, get ready to drill. Sample, map, get ready to drill. Don't just go up there and start poking holes. Oh, let's poke a hole, see if we get something to excite the market. Strictly need to be diligent, make a plan, and then attack it with the drill program. That's what we're in the process of doing. I have said, I'm not going to talk about meters. We're going to drill hundreds of thousands of meters north and south. So not right away, over time. So we'll start. The goal is fourth quarter of this year, have enough done to the north. We can start getting some of those drill pads up there. We did get up there with initial sampling. Basically, as you can see from that press release, we wanted to know before we went up there, when we first got this, we were scoping the whole project out. Focus in, as we decided to, on the development of El Tigre and build it. But we did some drill holes to the north. People go look at the historic ones. There's a few mentioned in the press release. Super high grade, silver results with grade. Yeah, this is to the north is brownfields. We've already drilled some holes up there just to make sure we're going in the right direction. That's really what took us north too, because we know it's there. Let's get those drills turning in the fourth quarter. Yeah, I think once they start turning, they're never going to stop. So I'm not going to put a meterage on that. So exciting to the north. I want people to read that press release. A lot of information in there. Historic, what we drilled on each of the veins, looking at all the underground, mapping of all that. Some real nice maps to show the north and the south. And I think they should really do a deep dive. Map, get underground, sample, then drill. That's the plan.
All right. And then just from a big picture, without getting into all the names in the south and in the even further north, the idea here being that what you did with El Tigre, you're going to use that same process on all these areas. It's a rinse and repeat process. And there could be multiple El Tigre sized deposits here along this whole trend. So just from a big picture, you want to get El Tigre going, get it into production to help eventually fund the drill program for many, many years into the future, probably decades into the future along this whole trend.
Correct.
That's the big picture plan, right, Glenn?
So you see what we're doing, let's just call it on the northern veins. That's how they're defined in here. And I've said before, them very much information in this press release. We want to be very informative here. So as people see the results, they can understand it. People need to read this press release. It's long. They really need to read it if they want to understand the north and south exploration of El Tigre. Take the time. And that's done. Forget about Pilares. That's far north. We don't have a plan to do that in the near term. North, get it ready for drilling. And we're already moving south. We're getting the roads cleaned up down there. We're getting access. That's the next 10 kilometers, okay, that we see of exploration potential. All in that El Tigre formation. There could be potential because these veins come to surface down there in that stockwork zone. That's the open pit of our PFS. Stay tuned on that. We're definitely going to test it. And we do see some of that in our early drill results we did. Potential for stockwork open pit finds to the north also. Stay tuned. Just pay attention as drill results come out. We'll be talking about what we see. Going south, we need to talk about the south. Okay, what did I say? Where do you go look for a mine in Mexico? Let's look under and around an old mine that had already been there, that the old timers had broken their back to go underground on narrow vein silver on. So as we see, as you go north, you're going to hit three, and we've been in them, and substantial underground workings. Look at the details of these in the press release. And you've got Lluvia de Oro first. Then you come to El Toro and La Mancha. These are names of old mines that are right on the trend in that El Tigre formation. It all daylights. We've mapped and sampled a little bit of Lluvia de Oro when we first got there just to test it. Boy, you can see some of the results in there. Beautiful high grade in that El Tigre stockwork. As you go south, we've done some mapping at El Toro and we've done some mapping at La Mancha. No sampling. So it'll be the same thing. Get down there, map it, sample from surface, go underground, sample from underground, get ready for drills to get down there. That's not going to be until next year. I want it as early as possible next year, but let's focus on the north and then we'll get down there. I see the north as a real brownfields. We've done lots of work up there, mapping and sampling. We've actually drilled some test holes just to confirm it's there. Brownfields, true greenfields to the south. The little bit of sampling we've done is telling us, oh, yeah, this is going to be exciting. But boy, that's going to be all new information. North, south, look, I can tell you right now around the old El Tigre mine, old timers 100, our 113, 100 in the pit, the 113 underground already, 100 in the pit, independent 73 to 100, tighten the drilling. Let's call that 400. That's in that 2 to 3 kilometers, million silver equivalent ounces. 10 kilometers north, 10 kilometers south. I mean, I think the sky's the limit, but our senior geologist, Dave Duncan, not on the call, has been asked this by some of the smartest institutional people on the planet when we have meetings with them. As you know, we're institutionally owned by a lot of the big precious metals long only investment funds. And Dave pulls no punches in saying, look, do I think we're halfway there? I think we're not even halfway there. He said, we got 400 already. Do I see a sight line where we could put another 500,000,000 silver equivalent ounces on the books? Yeah, that's a forward-looking statement, but we've done this for a long time. We knew what we thought we'd get at El Tigre. We did. We see the potential to the north and to the south. This is the starting to talk about what I haven't done very much, the blue sky at El Tigre. We've been focused on get the pit in production, get the underground PEA finished and get that in production, and then go out to the ends, north and south. Well, we're comfortable enough that we're ready to go with building El Tigre now that we're going north and south. And boy, we think it's going to be exciting when these results start coming.
Well, Glenn, we're going to keep our eyes peeled for it. So it starts in the north in the fourth quarter, and then the next year it goes down to the south, and you'll be going both directions at the same time. But let's vector back in on the middle here at El Tigre. I know
Yes.
that the next key catalyst is the upcoming PEA on the underground. Give us an update there. When's it coming, Glenn?
It's referred to in the press release. I have to be careful. I can't say a certain date. So it says Q3 2025 because we're in Q3 2025. As you know, I wanted to have it for the first week of August. But these things, this has been a document, a study we've been working on, started drilling the hundreds of thousands of meters in 2017. So, to get it right on a point where I can say it's out the first week of August, it's dragging a couple of weeks. It's imminent. That's all I'll say. Stay tuned for it. Can't wait to get it out there. We're in the fine tuning stages where you've got to get, the independent guys to give their information and our guys to go back and forth. Paper now. It's all just paper. The report's being drafted. When we have that, I'll be able to put the press release out. But it's very close, and I'm really looking forward to getting it out there. As soon as it's out, we'll be coming back on here to tell your people and also the rest of the world about the economics on that underground.
Looking forward to that, Glenn. And so we'll keep our eyes out for that as well. And just going to highlight the strength of the mine and the underground situation. You've got that shale, you've got the sulfide zone, you've got the high grade veins. And I think a lot of people during the open pit process forgot about all that high grade silver down there at depth. So this is going to be fun to highlight it when it's out. One last question for you, Glenn, before we wrap, and that is permitting. Everybody always wants to know what's the situation in Mexico. Give us your thoughts there.
Look, I think people should take from my actions what I think. I lose sleep about things, Shad. I do not lose any sleep about getting the open pit permit for El Tigre. It's just a matter of, in my mind, when I get it. I can't give an exact date, but the fact that we are moving north and south is most people shouldn't think it's a deflection from any delay. It is certainly not. It's now I'm so comfortable that we're ready to go build the open pit and then the underground that now I can look north and south and get that work going. I've used the word that the permit is, in my word, imminent or will be very soon. I still believe that and I stand behind that.
All right. Well, sounds like the plan is coming together for Silver Tiger. You've got everything rocking and rolling at El Tigre and now pushing north, pushing south along this whole 25-kilometer trend to show there could be, in fact, multiple El Tigres peppered along this trend. So it's going to be an exciting growth phase for the company. And for those of you listening in, I will put a few images down below this interview at our website where you can see some of those photos of the old adits they're going in and some of the maps at surface and some of these different veins we discussed today. And if you want to follow along with the news flow, definitely click on the link in the show notes. It takes you right over to the Silver Tiger website where you can sign up for updates that hit your email inbox or just follow the news flow as it drops. Glenn, keep us posted. We'll get you back on for an update soon. And as always, looking forward to our next conversation.
Thank you, Shad. Really appreciate it.